Hello, Dental A Team listeners. We are so excited to be here with you today. I have back on the podcast with me Miss Dana. I am so excited to see your beautiful smiling face today. And gosh, Britt did rim to rim, Grand Canyon rim to rim recently. And Dana, I've lived here my whole life. Like, I am an Arizona girl. I love the mountains, and I'm like, gosh, people just go out there and it's like, why didn't you bring water? Right? Like, you guys are crazy. You've been here for a long time. You hike avidly. Your husband hikes more avidly than anyone I know and knows the Arizona mountains like the back of his hand as if he grew up here. And I'm like, yeah, I could do rim to rim. And then Britt got back and I was like, okay, Dana, like we should do rim to rim, but holy cow. If you guys don't know what Grand Canyon rim to rim is, please go look it up. It's like an event that people literally, my boyfriend says, Tiff, like you take it for granted. People literally come here from other countries to see the Grand Canyon. I'm like, I do take it for granted. That's fair. But hearing Britt's story, Dana, I'm like, holy cow. If we are going to ever do that in our lifetime, I think we need to start today. Like, how do you prepare
My
for that?
biggest takeaway is like the planning of it because
Yes.
because I avidly hike, because my husband, like you're right, hikes more than any human on earth. Like I'm just like, we can just go do rim to rim. And honestly,
Literally.
I'll be to like I was like, oh no, I'm doing rim to rim to rim. Like I'm
Yeah.
not stopping at the first I'm not stopping at just rim. And
Yes.
I'm hearing her, I'm like, okay, well, I definitely need to plan
Literally the same.
more because I'm like, I hike in Arizona all the time. I know what the heat is. I know how to hydrate. I know how to do all those pieces. I'm like, but maybe I should plan it out a little bit more.
Literally what I said. My takeaway was I did not do planning for it. And I don't know, take it for granted. I didn't think it was necessary. I'm like, I hike, I work out, I run, I do the stair climber. I do cycle, I do spin classes. Like I am pretty okay to just like sign up for a race and do it and whatever. And I thought the same thing, minus the rim to rim trip. I was not going an extra rim, but I thought I could just pop over and do rim to rim. Like no big deal. People do it all the time,
Yeah.
constantly. Can't be that hard. Just kidding. Just kidding. So I think we need it on our bucket list here within the next, I would say 3 years based on the fact that I'm over 40 at this point.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie to myself. I need to give myself 3 years to get this sucker done, and probably shorter than that. So, Dana, we just need to prep and plan for this
Yep.
sucker.
Yeah. We just need to pick a date, right?
We
Because
need
if
to pick a
I
date.
don't pick a date, I can think I'm going to plan all
Yep.
I want.
Same.
So I just need to
Samesies.
pick a date and then I will force myself to plan. Now
I
that I know
agree.
how much prep I should probably put into it.
I agree. I tell people that constantly. I'm like, gosh, the most fit you'll ever be is when you know vacation is coming. You will have bikini body ready when you know that
Yep.
vacation is coming. But when there's not something planned, you're like, I'll do it. I'll eat this for now and I'll make it up later. I do it
Yeah.
constantly. So you're right. Okay. Everybody just congratulate Britt for surviving rim to rim, and that's a real statement for surviving. It's a huge feat. It's massive. So if you are on our Instagram, which I'm sure you are, just give her a shout out if you see her face in there. If you're one of her clients and didn't know she did it, congratulations. Here you go. Text her. But it's super cool. So Dana, we're going to put it on our list. That's our next to do. We'll add it to our fitness challenge thing over there. Channel. Today, guys, I wanted to talk about more than the Grand Canyon, but seriously, if you don't know what it is, you should look it up. And if you are planning on coming and you don't live in Arizona, like seriously, you think we need to plan, like prep and freaking plan, you guys. There was another hiker this weekend, and it's not even our true hot season yet. And there was another hiker this weekend in Phoenix that did not make it through her hike, and she was an avid hiker. So it's no joke, you guys. Please be safe. So, on that note, overcoming objections is actually what I wanted to talk about today. So, rim to rim is my objection today. I'm not ready for it. I get that. But overcoming objections in the practice, you guys, we really wanted to talk about case acceptance and what that might look like. And doctors, office managers, I know sometimes we get in the space of like, oh, this is for my treatment coordinator. Doctors, this is for you too. Especially when you're chairside treatment planning. Because sometimes I feel like, Dana, I feel like doctors get that look of like, glazed over, like, okay, either this is too much information or I've checked out because I have an objection, but we just talk through it, right? And how many times have we even done that in a personal relationship? That makes me laugh because I'm thinking, like, even my kid, I'll just keep talking at him and wait for him to like catch up. And then he's like, yeah, sure. And then turns around and I'm like, I don't think that's going to happen. Whatever that was.
I
Like
think
he
he
checked
meant
out.
no.
That was a no, right? Yeah. Like he checked out and I didn't catch it. So the moment when there's a checkout, like that's your objection. There's an objection in there somewhere. Either it was overload of information or they're not on board yet because of a reason. I like to go into everything assuming a yes. I live my life that way. My boyfriend's constantly like telling me that I'm like a golden retriever, right? I'm just like, yep, life is great. What's next? Let's go. Because it's just a detour. Whatever it is just a detour. And it's an opportunity to gain more information, in my opinion. So if there's a no, if there's a roadblock, I'm like, cool. What can I learn from this? What information do I need in order to get around this roadblock? Or should I be taking a different route? So it's a detour. So when I go into a treatment case, right, when I'm presenting treatment or when I'm training team members to present treatment and doctors, I'm constantly in the yes mindset, right? So Tony Robbins talks a lot about mindset, about mind frame, on where you're supposed to be. And that yes zone is massive. If I assume the yes, I'm leaving opportunity for that. And Dana, isn't it true? Like when you go into a conversation with the like, yeah, everything's gonna be fine, you're more optimistic, right? You're not set on an end result necessarily. And if it's not fine or a yes, it gives you that opportunity to create something new. And do you feel like, Dana, I have a question, an actual real question, because I live my life this way, but like I don't always check in with other people. People coming to you with that open mindset, right? That like, yep, this is gonna be fantastic. Does that then set the tone for you on that conversation? Like you as a person, whether it's personal, professional, whatever it is, does that set the tone for the conversation for you being like, okay, well, this is an opportunity rather than it being like, oh, this is a conversation. Like how does that feel on the other side, Dana?
Yeah, and I think it's funny that you asked that question. I agree, it does set the tone, and I think though it's harder to see when it's from that mindset, right?
Yeah.
Like I think we very easily see when someone negative sets our tone negative, right?
True.
But I don't think we always understand that like the initiative and the consciousness that the person that is setting the positive tone is doing. And so I think it's harder to relate to or harder to think that it works because it's very easy to spot it when it's the other way, not necessarily when it is the positive outlook and the positivity that breeds the positive. So I love that you specifically asked that question because I firmly do believe it. I think it's just a little bit harder to see.
Yeah, that was a huge, massive point because it's like anything, we're always going to remember the negative more than the positive, right? So I always tell, I always tell teams, well, number one, this rolls into case acceptance as well, because if you get a no and you carry it, you're always going to remember that no. You could have 10 yeses today and that one person said no to 2 fillings. And it's like, oh, I suck, right? But I just sold 10 freaking implants, right? But it's like getting your hair done. And I say, you're walking down the street, and you're like, gosh, my hair, it's so good. I got bangs today. And you've got like 9 people walk by you. And they're like, dang, I really like your hair today. I really like your hair, right? 9 people tell you you look amazing. And one person stops you on the street and they say, gosh, I like your hair, but I'm just not sure I would have gone with bangs. When you get home or when you get into your car, what are you doing? You're looking in the mirror and you're second guessing your choice on bangs. You're not saying 9 people and myself love my hair right now. You're saying one person second guessed bangs. Why did I do this? Should I have done this? And I think that's exactly what you just said too, Dana. It's really easy to be like, gosh, they just like came in so aggressive and just totally changed my mood. This person put me in a bad mood. One of my least favorite statements of all time. I get to choose the mood I'm going to be in. That's my power and my control. And ain't nobody taking that away from me. But we say that, right? Like this person just totally changed the mood. But it's not always noticeable when someone comes in with a positive, right, or an open mind, and they change that or they keep the mood that you've been in. You're totally right. It's not always noticeable, but it makes a huge impact. So your patients may not notice that you're like, hey, let's go. They may not notice that they're like, yeah, like let's figure this out instead of being in like a gosh, I need treatment mood. So huge point there, Dana. I love that you pointed that out, because going into it with that mindset, you're not going to reap 100% of, the accolades and the rewards. Are not going to be like, thanks so much for being so positive all the time. You might get that every now and again, but we're looking for that feedback and we're not always getting it. So then we get worn down and we're like, why even try? When you're tracking your results, you're going to know why you try. When you're tracking those yeses, when you're just tracking the conversations, even, like, you're not always going to get a yes. That's okay. And that's what we're here about today, is those objections. And when you go in with that yes mindset of like, I can do anything, it's not always this person's going to say yes to this treatment. It's this person is going to say yes to their health, and we're going to get them there. So I go in thinking this is a huge opportunity to learn more about this patient and to get them healthier. I don't always go into it, which I think is a mindset shift, Dana, for the healthcare field in general. We think like, oh, I'm selling treatment. You are selling treatment, but you're selling someone their health back, right? So I'm selling you back your health. You are unhealthy. You came to me with a deficit, and I'm selling you back your health, right? And so when we put it in that perspective, we put it in the perspective of learning and opportunity, it shifts the mindset quite a bit. So that was a fun tangent. Thank you, everyone, for following along with us. I hope you gleaned some opportunities there and some mindset shifts. I think it's huge. Now, Dana, when they do come in, they're like, okay, we've got this. And then they're like, I'm just not ready. Like, what do you train a lot of systems, you train a lot of communication and a lot of verbiage. People like to call it scripts, right? What do you tell your teams is the best path to take when you do get an objection?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, to preface that, right, I always try to teach teams that anything outside of a yes is a no, right? So, but there are no's that are true no's, and then there are solvable no's. And so it really helps teams to kind of know the difference. Like a true no would be, I'm leaving tomorrow to go out of town for 3 months, and like I truly cannot do the treatment, right? Or I just bought a new house and haven't paid my first mortgage payment. Like I want to wait until I make that. That's a true no, right? Or there's solvable no's, which are, oh gosh, I don't know if I'm ready, or I need to talk to a spouse, or, oh, that's a lot, that's a lot financially, or all of those are solvable no's. And usually the easiest way to solve them is to ask better questions to find out what is the actual barrier, right? Because treatment coordinators, we teach them a lot. You've got a lot of tools. You've got a lot of things that you can offer patients. But what I want you to do is hone in on what to offer instead of throwing the book at them, right? Like, well, here are all of my solutions and now you choose. Well, they don't actually know what those choices mean, or they don't actually know what to pick in those choices. So I think it's asking questions to get down to the bottom of what is holding the patient back so that you can provide the right solution for that patient.
Yes, I totally agree. You made me think of the game Guess Who. Do you remember that game when we were little? I think it's back around again, and they have way cooler pictures, by the way. Ours were bad when it was like trending back when we were kids. Anyways, Guess Who is the game where you flip your board up and you've got all the pictures of the different characters, and you're one of the characters on the other person's board. You've got your little card down here, and that other person is supposed to try to guess which character you are by asking questions. So you say, do you have dark hair? No. Okay, great. We mark down all the dark hairs. Then we say, do you wear glasses? Yes. Okay, so anyone who doesn't have glasses, we mark down those guys. And it leaves you with a couple of options, and you narrow it down until you're so sure you have the answer. And that's what I feel like treatment coordinating is like. You have this massive board of options, of opportunities, and you're like, okay, great. What do we need to overcome today? And we're narrowing it down until we get to the actual root cause or the root issue that the person's suffering. Because, I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I've seen so many memes recently, and I'm like, that is so me, where they're like, if she says she has to check with her husband, I mean, she doesn't want to go because she ain't got to check with her husband. Like, that's me. If I'm like, oh, let me check our calendar, I know what our calendar is. And if I'm saying that, I just don't feel comfortable telling you no in the space that we're in. I'm going to text you because it's less like invasive and it's less confrontational. So I'm just going to text you later. Right. So when they're like, I need to talk to my husband, right? I have had instances, I do have to caveat this. I have had instances where that is 100% true. But I've said to them, totally, I completely agree with you. And I would never want you to make a decision without consulting your spouse. Financially, I never support that, right? I want you guys to be on the same page. What I would suggest is let's set up a consultation where both of you can be here with us. Or is he here? Can he come in? Because what I'd hate to do is for you to get home and have to try to reiterate everything that I just said today and everything that you learned from the dentist. Like, that's a lot of information for you to carry. It's a heavy weight for you to carry, and I'd love to help support you in that. So, is he here? Is she here? Can we get you guys scheduled? Now, I've got like a soft no, a soft no, because we're not scheduling the treatment yet, which you still can. You can say, let's schedule this for 2 weeks out. Let's get him in before then, right? Let's hold the space. Let's get you and your spouse back before that. So let's try for Thursday, whatever. It's a soft no, but I'm still scheduling them for something, and I'm still providing support for my patient because I want my patient to be healthy. That's all I want. I want my patients to be healthy. And if it means that I have to have an additional conversation with a spouse in order to get that patient healthy, I'm going to do that. I'm 100% going to do that. So whatever that objection is, it's finding that space around the objection that's providing the ultimate benefit to the patient, right? So I've even had it, Dana, you said even like vacation. I've had patients, we have snowbirds in Arizona. It's super cool. Phoenix gets a ton of snowbirds. We love you all. Sometimes the roads get crazy, you guys. It's fast driving here. You got to keep up. Anyways, we get snowbirds, and these snowbirds come. They're like, gosh, well, I'm heading back in 2 weeks. And I'm like, shoot, like I don't have anything in the schedule for 2 weeks in the next 2 weeks, right? So I'm like, hey, let me see what I can do. Let me see what I can move around. Let me see whatever. If I can get them in, I will. Or we've had snowbirds that are like, hey, I'm only gone for 3 months in the summer. I'll be back 1st of September. Great. Let's schedule you for the second week in September because I want to make sure this is taken care of. And if for some reason something gets worse while you're gone and you've got to see your dentist back home, tell us. We'll take it off the schedule because I just want you to get taken care of. So if you get it done there, let us know. If not, we're going to put you down for the second week in September because I just want to make sure that they're investing in their health to the best of their own capabilities. And I have the tools for them to do that. Something I talked with a client about last week, Dana, was not everybody knows. Patients don't know to ask the questions they don't know. And I was in office with a practice last week, and we were talking about like educational overload and confusion. And we often over talk because we're trying to educate past objections we think people might have. And in response to that, we can create decision paralysis and just educational confusion. And something that I said was, if you're giving them this much information, like there's so much information, sometimes they don't know what questions to ask to gain clarity. And so, Dana, to your point, us asking them questions will bring that out. And Dana, with that said, like what kind of questions do you train teams to be able to ask either chair side or at treatment coordinating up front?
Yeah. So I think that it comes down to just like asking questions to understand, is it a, like, do you understand the actual treatment? Yeah. Right? Like, do you understand what a crown is? Do you understand, do you remember what the doctor said as far as why you need the treatment? Do you know what will happen if we do nothing? Right? Because I think some of the times it is like, they may understand the treatment. They may know what a crown is. They may remember why, but they struggle with, they struggle with like, where do I prioritize this?
Yeah.
Right. And so if I've got an AC repair, right? Well, it's 110 degrees out in Arizona. And if I don't have AC, right? Like, so where do they put it in their priority list of things to get done? So sometimes it's okay to say, hey, what other big things do you have coming up? Right? Because you may be able to help them with that priority. Like, did the doctor review with you, if we do nothing, what's going to happen? right?
Yeah.
Do you understand the risk of like not doing this treatment, where that puts you? So I think it's just figuring out what part of it they don't understand. Is it the actual treatment? Is it the reason for the treatment? Or is it that they don't know how to prioritize it in all the things, because life is busy, right? And
Yeah.
things are happening and there's other expenses elsewhere. And so how can you help them prioritize where to put that in all of the other noise that they have going on in their lives?
Yeah. And to that point of prioritization, Dana, in addition to that, I think a lot of treatment plans are delivered with this is everything you need. Okay, goodbye. And there's no prioritization put on the treatment that is next, the
Yeah.
next visit. And I had a doctor recently tell me, well, like it's their mouth. And I said, you are the only person that can make this decision with and for them. You have to tell them what the most important next step is. Even if it's like, hey, all of this is about the same, where I would start is upper right. I don't know what's the easiest, what's the hardest? Like what do you want to start with when you don't know the priority? The issue is that patients don't know a lot about dentistry. Most patients don't know a lot about dentistry. So when you leave it up to them, they're making a decision based on not a lot of knowledge. You have all the tools under your belt. So prioritize the treatment that needs to be done and then help and assist your patient in prioritizing getting that treatment done. I love it. So I would say, in an effort to overcome objections, first and foremost, be open minded. Go into it as a conversation, go into it as an opportunity, and make sure that your mindset is set. If you just got off of a really hard call, if you just had a patient berate you, if you just walked down the street and someone yelled at you, I want you to be like, okay, how can I shift my mindset right now? And then ask all of the questions. What questions can you ask? Can you what questions can you ask that help prioritize your patient's treatment? So you place the priority, go in with an open mindset, you tell them what's next, what do they need to do next, and then help ask all of those questions. You guys just get them over the hurdle. Do not assume what their hurdle is, because you can implant an idea and make yourself some big problems there. Ask the questions. I love it. I usually say, Dana, be in the why, or be in the what, be in the question. You guys, if you go into any conversation open-minded, meaning leaving room to ask for more information, whatever that conversation is, just became tenfold easier. So go do the things, you guys. Dana, we got to put rim to rim. You can do the extra rim if you want. I'm doing two. We got to put it on our calendar, rim to rim. I'll wait for you at the other side and pick you back up if you're doing that extra rim. But we got to put that on our calendars. And Dana, thank you for podcasting with me today. I love our time together. Listeners, thank you so much for being here. As always, write in at hello@thedentalateam.com and let us know what you think. Thanks so much, everyone.